Hi there everyone, and welcome to your weekly forecast for the week of the 18th. This goes from a Monday through a Sunday. So just a quick reminder on the format of the weeklies. I like to start with channeled information, and then I move on to blessings and blocks for the week, followed by the 7 days of the week, and then at the very end I will present some specific information for each of the 12 signs. Let's get started with the channeled information. This week it's two parts, so I put it on two cards. It begins with the act of release. So when I say release, it's not necessarily a positive or a negative thing. I want us to think of release in more of a neutral mind. I'll give you a couple of examples quickly. One, there could be something that you've been working on and you have successfully manifested it, or something has just completed. And sometimes we have this difficult place in our mind where we've become so attached to the act of creating, or perhaps even to the fear of what people will think, that we have a hard time letting go. So first, congrats for those of you that have been working very hard to accomplish something and have seen that happen. The next step is just to trust that you did the work in a way that is going to be received well. And also just celebrate the fact that you achieved something you wanted. Some of you may be on a path where you're having difficulty accomplishing a dream, an aspiration, a goal. And for you, try to release the attachment over having to have it succeed, or worrying about whether someone will love it or like it or accept it or not. The release is just to sort of like let go of that tension. It's good to have butterflies. It's good to want people to like it, but you can't have this, that you can sometimes kind of squeeze out the opportunity of success if you put too much intensity in it. And the other part with release is just in everyday life, everyday conversations, everyday relationships. I want you to release the any sort of controlling or attaching yourself to a certain outcome with some of the situations in your life. So maybe you're trying to get someone to go out on a date with you, or you want to have your boss recognize you for a promotion, or whatever the sort of desire for recognition will be. It's good to want it, but let go of having to have it. And what you start to do is create space for that receiving to happen. And another way to think about this is kind of like a satellite that can only send or receive, kind of like our voices in our brains sometimes. We can multitask, but we're much more effective if we speak and then we listen. We speak and then we listen. And it's hard if you have cross-talking, you know it doesn't work very well. So energy is kind of working the same way here. And I want you to focus this week after you've let go on just letting things come in. Now for some of you this can be challenging too. This can be receiving a compliment, this can be receiving money, a thank you, or simply listening. And the act of listening may be the most challenging thing of all, because a lot of us are really used to having devices like this on all the time, and we can't just put it down and pay attention. And that's also, even without a device, if you're out on a walk or driving home from work, or just taking public transportation, I want you to tune into life around you. You do not need tarot cards to be intuitive or to pick up on signs. So you may receive something like a hummingbird showing you there might be a spiritual opportunity that day, or maybe there's a color that keeps popping up, or repetitive numbers. So you might actually also be receiving information from your guides and from the universe, and you need to be aware and awake. And then also just in conversation, nonverbal cues can come through if you're not distracted, like typing on a device. Release the need or the desire to manipulate or to have a certain outcome happen. Receive blessings, information, and feedback from the universe. All right, that's your channeled information. It's a lot, but I really want you to focus on the act of receiving this week. I think that's the more powerful of the two. I think you understand and you can wrap your head around releasing, but listening, paying attention, and taking in is probably the most challenging. All right, let me go ahead and switch gears here, and we're going to take a look at the blessings and the blocks for the week. And every week I start off with high frequency information, and this is opportunistic or helpful energy that's coming through. And let's see what your helpful energy is for this week. Okay, and it's a question of looking at your feelings and how they're affecting your outcomes and your actions. So it says, how do you feel? And you see apples and oranges here. I'm sorry, what do you feel? And that's more important. But when we're looking at this, one thing that I'm seeing here is I want you to try to stay as grounded as possible this week. And I also want you to try not to compare your life or your situation to someone else. Figure out what you feel and how you're connected to your higher purpose or your higher self as well. And when you kind of take that comparison that we see in this picture out of the equation, then it's simply down to your heart, your understanding, your mind. What is it that you feel or you need to do? That's going to trump any cards that I pull, any information that other people give you. You alone really know what's important this week, so trust your intuition and don't let the noise of other people trying to either make you compare themselves to you or your own maybe insecurity over something kind of giving you this it's a facade basically. So stay grounded, remember who you are, and remember why you're doing something. Let that be your compass. All right, let's look at your potential block. And even though this is in a blessing, it's sort of read as a block, which is your blessing is you already know. I should state it in the affirmative. And the warning around the blessing was not to let someone have you doubt yourself, okay? So let's look at the block now. And the block is something that you want to be careful of. Looks like it's a tricky week because both the blessing, the blessing had a little bit of a blockage to it. So let me just see what the block reads as. So the interesting thing here is, I tuned into this a little bit. It is about grounding. Whenever I see a tree, especially one that's missing the top here, I have questions about stability and grounding. So I want you to take time to ground and meditate, and also just think through things before you act. The more you do that, the easier things are going to be. So the block is to ground, meditate, and don't do anything too hastily. The blessing is you already know what you need to do. So the thinking, the pausing, the receiving is what's going to basically help you avoid an unnecessary difficulty down the road or maybe a disappointment. Okay, let's now take a look at the 7 cards for the 7 days of the week. And let me turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. And we'll do 5 on top for Monday through Friday and then 2 for the weekend. There we go, perfect. All right. I'm gonna leave it. We got two for Wednesday, and that's okay. Thursday, Friday, and the weekend. Okay, it's a pretty good week overall. I really like how the cards are looking. Monday we have 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands is in reverse, so it may feel a little chaotic, but what's great about 8 of Wands is typically this allows you to accomplish a lot. Also, there's a lot of opportunities that are coming through. Don't be shy, reach out for the ones you really care about. And if there's anything on your agenda or on your plate that you feel like is unimportant or is pulling you away from something that you truly love, push it aside a little bit, ask for help. There's an opportunity for delegation in both the 7 and the 8 of Wands because of how much is going on. I would even say the 9 of Wands. It's a question of what you want to spend your time on. But this being said, with regards to work, you can't really, like, there's not anything really negative other than I don't want you to get distracted. But it feels like there's a lot on your plate. You're able to manage it. Just be mindful of that and pick and choose what you want to focus on. Tuesday is an important day for money. We have the Queen of Coins in reverse. You'll notice this Queen of Coins is more focused on third eye, and this is about knowing what you should do, and the reversal of this is encouraging you to act with great consideration when it comes to investments, expenditures, and also taking on anybody else's debt or responsibilities. So think really practically on Tuesday, and don't be afraid of making a decision. Just make sure you have all of the facts and the data in front of you and use that to really come to a conclusion. With it in reverse, this is a wonderful day to practice what we saw in the block, which was to ground yourself, because it's an earth-based card and it's reversed. So grounding is lacking a little bit, okay? As we go into, also one other note, this card is associated typically with, for me anyway, with mothers. And so there may be some challenges with any maternal figures in your life. This can also manifest as like a boss or an aunt or someone in your life that, you know, comes through very maternal. They may need something from you because the card's reversed. It's not in a place of giving. As we look at Wednesday, really good day for energy overall. You should be feeling strong. You should be waking up and feeling like you can do whatever you want to do. You might want to put some of that energy into relationships, because this was the day where 2 cards came through. 4 of Wands for me is all about setting up or establishing new opportunities, new relationships. There could be a strong Leo coming into your life as well. This card is typically associated with a Leo. It's also a very strong feminist card. So perhaps even that maternal figure that you gave some time and energy to is feeling back to themselves on Wednesday. But it's a great day for making dates, making appointments, reaching out, even negotiating. Across the board, it's really, really a good day for people skills. The only thing with the reversal on this is make sure that you're managing your own energy well. And if you're starting to feel a little tired or feeling like you're not being heard at the table, just raise your hand, speak up. It feels like you're in good company on that day. The best day of the week so far for relationships is Thursday. Very good time to date. Very good time for conflict negotiations or resolutions. Overall, it's just a very nice time to be with people. And it might be also an opportunity for an intimate celebration or a small party. So if you get invited somewhere, you should go. And even if you're by yourself, this is a good time to just try to reach out to someone, maybe pick up the phone or send an email or write an old-fashioned letter, because the energy of relationships is very strong on Thursday. As we look at Friday, any efforts that you make in the relationship area is going to probably grow. We have Ace of Cups, which can show new romance, new opportunities, and creativity. So for those of you that are single, both days are showing a very high creative energy that wants to present itself. So feel free to do that. Feel free to have some fun. There might be a Pisces coming in as well that could help you with these things, whether it's romance or even creativity at work. The only thing I would say is, with the intensity of emotion, just make sure that you're, again, taking care of yourself. I'm going to keep stressing the grounding this week. It doesn't have to just be meditation. It can also be activities that are allowing you to kind of get your hands in the earth. I've talked about gardening as being really great, maybe raking the leaves or planning something for the next season, etc. And what you eat can also have a good effect on grounding. Eating those earth-based vegetables really good as well. The weekend is great. I'm not really seeing any tricky cards this week. I like the overall energy. On Saturday, this is the best day to try to affect the outcome of something. I mentioned to be careful of that, but if you have to, for instance, manage a project, maybe you have to work on the weekend or you want to get ahead, this is a good day to do that. The Empress card is about fertile efforts, basically, and that's why you'll often see a mother on the card. And it's also a day where you might want to reveal, come out, show something that you've been working on. Overall, the Empress energy is very strong. There is one caution on this, that you do really want to be in control of things. It's not a day when delegation is going to work out very well. You want to make sure that you're watching the details, even if that involves like having someone look after your house, look after your kids or your pet. You're going to want to call in and check in and make sure that you are just laying out expectations and making sure that people are executing your desires, your wishes, or your plans. As we look at Sunday, this might be the quietest day for everyone. This is a really good time. It's 8 of Pentacles, by the way, 8 of Coins in this deck. This is a good time for reviewing budgets, reviewing contracts. It's a good day for learning. So if you wanted to pick up your favorite book and read, or take a class online, or even for those of you that have just started school, great day to finish up the homework and get ahead, basically. Let's now review everything for the week, and then we'll take a look at all of the signs and sign-specific information. So, as we look at Monday, just a reminder, there's a lot going on. You want to stay on top of that, not get overwhelmed. Tuesday, make smart decisions with money using your mind, not your heart in this case. It's all about the facts and figures. So don't make emotional decisions. Wednesday, when we look at physical strength, it looks like it's in a good place. You might also have a strong Leo coming through. Relationships are also very strong this day, but you might have to make sure that your voice is heard if you are in negotiations or even in a relationship at home, making sure your partner's hearing you. As we look at both Thursday and Friday, it's a very good time to strengthen the bonds in existing relationships, get out and meet new people, whether just for friends or for romance. And also it's a great time for creativity if you're not really looking to expand in your relationship front. On the weekend, I want you to take care of anything that's on your to-do list on Saturday. Stay in control of everything as well. Make sure that nothing gets off your radar. Basically decompress, take care of bills, any sort of homework, and then do things for fun, reading, exploration of any sort of knowledge, I should say, expansion. So reading and watching movies that somehow help you learn something. And just to recap on channeled information, it was that act and the balance of releasing and receiving, which we saw echoed in the blessing. Trust the knowledge that you already have, stay grounded, and it should all stay clear. All right, so I'm going to clear all of the cards here so we can start to look at sign-specific information. All right, let's begin with Aries. Aries, your channeled information this week really has to do with a little bit of what I touched upon on Monday. There's going to be a lot of demand for your time and energy this week. What you have to decide is, how do you want to devote yourself to everything in front of you? How do you want to allocate your affection, your time, your energy, your devotion, though? What really came through was the word devotion. And when I think about that, it's sort of like the highest form of praise and exchange of energy. Typically when we devote ourselves to a higher cause or to a religious belief or to some sort of a project that we really care about, it's about giving heart and soul. So if you are giving your heart and soul to something this week, maybe it is your job, maybe it is a relationship, are you receiving, are you feeling something coming back, or is it a one-way street? And if that's the case, then the question is, are you allocating resources correctly? Or is there an opportunity to be a little bit more, how should I say, careful with your allocation? Let me go ahead now and pull a card and see if there's additional insights or information that wants to come through or present itself. All right, so your supplemental information this week is we have 8 of Swords. I really like this illustration because it shows getting caught up in a web. And it is reverse, and whenever I see any of the cards reverse, there's a possibility to avoid it. And 8 of Swords here is a card that typically comes through because you might not be looking or exploring all of the outcomes. And so I see it as a completely avoidable card for you. And what you can do this week is ask tough questions. And if there's anything that's going on that you're afraid to look at, this card is absolutely telling you you have to embrace it, you have to look it head on, and then maybe reallocate. Snip some of those webs that we see here. So if somebody's asking a lot of your time and energy, but it's not feeling good, or you're not getting something back from it, you are in control on a lot of these things, or you might be able to escalate it and go to someone else that can make it easier for you. But the key thing with 8 of Swords is to open up your eyes and open up your mind to different ways of doing things so that you don't feel trapped, okay? Let's now take a look at Taurus. And Taurus, when I was tuning in to your sign this week, I actually saw the idea of like water coming through or like a squeegee coming through and clearing everything off. And so I have clear, clean, remove. And so you might be doing any number of these things to your space, to people in your life, to even some of the thoughts that you might be carrying with you from time to time or day to day. I want you to kind of like cut out anything that's not working for you. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cards and see if there's supplemental information that wants to present itself. And for you, we have the Tower in reverse. These two go really nicely together. So if there's anything that needs to go, the Tower reverse says you're aware of it and you're in control of it. You're not asking for somebody else to make it happen, and it's not taking you as much by surprise. Whenever I see the Tower in the upright position, we don't have a lot of warning and we have to go with the flow. The reversal is usually about restructuring and about a little bit of a knowledge that, okay, I understand what I need to do. On some level, I might have even brought this change coming in, but realize there's a sense of purification and clarity that's coming through with this week's message. So embrace it and don't fear it. Gemini, as I was tuning into your sign this week, really got a beautiful image. If you ever really looked close at a seed, particularly something like a lima bean, you notice that there are two halves to it, and they're basically little batteries, batteries from what the parent plant gave to it. All of that light, that energy is put into a small sort of seed pod. And so what I see you doing this week is taking either the fruits of your labor and creating something that's going to grow. And this is not going to happen this week. It's going to happen in a few months. But I feel like you're going to start to see even a little bit of progress this week, but you have to recognize slow growth. So your message this week was germination, the idea that a seed doesn't grow overnight, but you do have to eventually plant it. So I feel like some of you have already done the growth and the work necessary to create that, but for your seed to germinate, you have to start to feed it. So if there's something in your life that you want to make happen, whatever kind of goal it is, whether it's you want to get in shape to run a 5K, or you want to plan better for your financial future, or change something about your health, it just starts with one step. That one step is equivalent to putting that seed in the ground. Every day that you feed it, you create the shell, and then eventually, after it's gained enough momentum, it sprouts and it grows. So I want you to kind of attach yourself to that idea of planting a new seed in a new beginning of your future this week, and every day after that, allowing for nurturing and germination to take place. Let's take a look at your cards and see if additional information wants to either support that or bring through another message. We have Knight of Wands upright, showing that this is a very good week for taking an idea and expressing it or growing it, which does really sit nicely with this germination and growth idea. I will say this, since part of the channeled information this week was to really sit and receive the information, I want you to try not to act this week. This isn't the Knight of Swords, so what you could do is take some time to plan things out. This could be about strategizing. It can also be about doing like best practices research, looking and seeing what your competitors are doing. Also getting inspired by reading, watching, or experiencing a similar product elsewhere or something like that if you're in business. For relationships, you might actually have a strong Knight of Wands come through, a fire sign. And if that's the case, it looks like it's pretty good energy, so feel free to engage with that. All right, let's tune into Cancer. Cancer, your channeled information this week, it kind of reminds me of an old X-Files movie title, which was like, I Want to Believe. I want you to go beyond belief. And I know that that sounds weird, but I want you to get that inner knowledge, that inner knowing. And so your channeled message was to go beyond. I would also say not just what you want to believe or what beliefs you have, but any sort of belief system that has sort of been imparted or kind of sometimes forced upon you. So this is a time to find that inner knowledge, or if necessary, seek external knowledge to help satisfy your questions, your desires, your own intuition. So belief systems help us, they're necessary. Sometimes we have to go outside of them to find true understanding, and that's the channeled message for you this week. You'll be able to sort out exactly what that means to you. It's not just about religion, it can also be about what you've believed that you should be doing in your life, or what people believe you're capable of doing, and you know that, no, I know I can do more than this, or I know I'm meant to do something different. So if that's the case, that's about moving beyond people's beliefs that they've projected on you, following your inner knowing, and if something's at odds, seek out the support, the knowledge, or the insight to back up that inner knowledge. All right, let's look at the cards and see how they relate to that, or if there's additional information that wants to come through. So we have Three of Wands, which is a beautiful card to come through for your sign this week. And I feel like it's been a tricky month or two for you. This is showing me that things are starting to turn around. Some new opportunities are starting to either present themselves You might have some new friendships, some new business opportunities. You also just might start to feel like you're coming out of a fog. And so Three of Wands shows that whatever you're dreaming about is within reach. So continue to reach out for that, continue to work hard for that, and know that you have the capacity, the power, and also the connections in this case to start to bring this into your world. Just know that with Three of Wands, it's not an overnight thing. You should start to see indications that you're on the right path, but it can often take 1/4 of a year, so up to 3 months for everything to manifest. All right? Let's now take a look at the next sign. Leo, your channeled information this month was, I want you to try to focus on opening your heart and opening your mind. And in essence and in effect, start to think less rigidly. And so sometimes this happens with age, and sometimes we're just born with more of a headstrong sort of upbringing. And if that's the case, that's okay, because it creates really strong character, but it can also push people away. So you might be challenged this week in somebody with an unconventional thought process or lifestyle, or even an idea that could really be radical and could change the way we do everything, or you do everything. So I want you to open your heart, your mind, and your life to different experiences. Don't think that there's only one way to do things, and just be open. You don't have to say yes or no, but at least allow for some information to come through before you make your decision, which seems to be a common thread as I'm looking at many signs this week. Let's see what the cards have to add to this discussion. And we'll go in the middle here. We have the Ace of Swords. Really good week towards the end to have heart-to-heart conversations. And I feel like for you, the key is to be honest, to be clear, and not to let other people's emotions or even your own emotions get in the way. So it's a good week for marketing, for communications. I would just say, in regards to that, you want to maybe think unconventionally. And so if you have a business, maybe it's about trying an entirely different channel to reach consumers. If this is about romance, it's about not being afraid to take the first step or speak up and ask someone out or say, I love you first. It's basically about being bold across the whole platform of your life, but you're going to be taking the first step, basically, with this card. Okay? Virgo, your channeled information this week is about one powerful word. We don't often say it enough, and we don't often think about it enough, but it's about thanks. So one thing is giving gratitude in your life for wherever you're at the moment. No matter how challenging this week or the past month has been for you, there are things in your life to be grateful for, and that gratitude really will help you alleviate any sort of stress, and it also opens up your heart. This is something that's really helpful before prayer and meditation. I once had Archangel Uriel come through loud and clear in a prayer saying, say thank you more. And it's pretty, it's a wide awakening when you kind of have a higher entity come through and remind you of gratitude. But for you, I saw basically this, just bowing in appreciation. So do that for yourself, honor your own accomplishments. Also say it to other people in your life, especially those who work really hard and may not ever receive a thank you. So it could be the person that serves you lunch. It could be someone who you see every day at work. It could be your mother, your child, whoever in your life you're thankful for. Go ahead and deliver that gratitude, because it could help save them. It could help, like if they're in a very dark place, this could help bring them around into something much lighter, much brighter, and help them understand that they make a difference. And also for your own life, it helps open up your heart, and it helps bring in more gifts from the universe. Every time you say thank you, more abundance can come to you. Let's look at the cards and see what additional information wants to come through. We have the 10 of Coins in reverse, stating that it's really important for you to feel like any sort of change in your financial situation is an opportunity. You see this key here. So this has to be something where you have a say, you feel like you're winning, or you feel like you're somehow profiting from the change. And for those of you that are looking for new work opportunities, this is a good time to put yourself out there, but you may need assistance in finding the connection to the job that you're trying to look for. 10 is still very good, showing me that it's probably coming from friends and family already. The other thing is there could be a lot of demands on you from your place of employment or your family this week. And if that's the case, do what you can, but also remember to exercise limits. Say no if you're feeling overwhelmed, or ask for help if necessary. Libra, as I tuned into your energy, really what I'm seeing is a brand new beginning. A fresh, clean slate, or in this case, a new book that hasn't been written. So I wrote a new chapter. I want you to embrace the messages we got at the beginning of this reading, the combination of releasing so that you could receive. This week, I'd love for you to start something new. And it doesn't really matter what it is in your life. It could be a new relationship, a new project at work, some sort of a new habit that you want to create a healthy sort of life for yourself. Whatever it is, turn over a new leaf or create a new chapter in your life and approach it with a sense of excitement and let go of anything that is maybe frustrating you from what hasn't worked before. This is new, this is untethered by past successes or failures, and it's also untainted by any of those emotions that you might have surrounding that. Let's see what the cards have to say as well. Let's give it one more shuffle for you. There we go. Okay, so we have 5 of coins in reverse. Really good time for you to take a look at your finances and your health. This card has to do with a little bit of both. Also has to do with relationships between children and parents. So all 3 of these areas may need a little bit of attention. The card was reversed, showing me I want you to make sure that you're receiving what you need in all of these areas. So if your money situation isn't making you happy, maybe you want to make more, maybe you aren't even aware of what your budget is, spend some time this week to really crunch the numbers and find your comfort zone. With your health, there might be something that you are aware of needing to change. This card is giving you a subtle nudge that it's important to do it now before maybe it presents an issue in the future. And again, with parents, with children, there might be a healing opportunity. Even for those of you that have a parent that has passed away, there may still be issues that you want to work on and send prayers of release, of healing to that parent, or even just ask for assistance if you don't know how to facilitate that yourself. Let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio. So for you, a beautiful picture came to mind when I was channeling this of either a setting or a rising sun. And I want you to focus on opportunity. Whenever I see a horizon, it's Spirit's way to give me a symbol of hope, of opportunity, and also when it comes to your ability to manifest this, projecting the idea that I've got this, it's happening. Not that I want to do this, maybe it's going to work. I want you to see that it's out there. You just have to catch up with that future that is inevitable. Let's look at the cards and see what additional information and insights they have for you. Okay, and we have King of Cups upright. Very good time for you to creatively embark on something. So this Horizon card is absolutely in concert with this message. Good time for new relationships. You might also have a very strong water sign coming into your life, and if that's the case, feel free to embrace that. But with the King of Cups, it's a time to allow for your emotions to push you in the direction that you want. So maybe you've been doing something that hasn't been igniting your passion, your flame. This card is saying it's time. It's time to really start to do something that you love. And if you're in a relationship and you're not feeling that, it's time to try to bring that back into the relationship, or it might be time to look elsewhere if it's not working for you, okay? But overall, this is also just a very good card for creativity, for sensitivity, and it's as an aspect of your personality, it's also showing that you can't go wrong this week by sharing your love with others. And when I'm looking at the days of the week, particularly towards Thursday and Friday, so don't be afraid to let your colors and let your heart shine this week. Okay, let's look now at Sagittarius. Sagittarius, for you, I saw a door getting locked here, and quite literally what I'm seeing with this is security and safety. So when it comes to your place of where you're living and also your place of employment, I would make sure that both of those areas are secure. Lock your desk, lock your door, and take extra measures too. Have you gotten the proper insurance when it comes to certain types of acts of God, nature, and accidents? This is a good time to look into very practical things like safety and security. Let's look at the cards now and see what additional information or insights come through for you. As I'm shuffling, I will say security can also have to do with, are you secure in a relationship? Do you feel safe in your own life or safe to speak up? And if that's lacking, that's another area that you want to focus on as well. All right. We have the Justice card, and Justice upright is talking about bringing balance to your life and feeling that any areas where that doesn't exist, where you don't feel like you're being treated well, where you don't feel like the letter of the law is being followed, you really want to bring that into balance this week. It can also indicate a very strong Libra presence that could be of assistance in this, or that could help you speak your mind. But usually with Justice, it surrounds balance and perhaps a big decision. For some of you, if you've been thinking of bringing something to court or bringing legal action, this is a good card to come through for that. It can also be about setting up a business or putting down some sort of a contract as well. But all in all, pretty good card that came through. Let's take a look now at Capricorn. As I was tuning into your energy, what I really saw was a bunch of light bulbs lighting up at once, which is my symbol for expansion of knowledge or insight. And so your channeled information is both understanding and also expanding your understanding. And so the word understand, if there's anyone or anything in your life that you don't feel comfortable with right now, I want you to try to speak up. Maybe you need some training, so you could ask for that. Maybe you just need someone to walk you through something, or you just want to understand someone else's perspective. So expanding your understanding of people in your life, situations in your life, or even skills that you might want to acquire. All of these things are very supported by the energy that wants to come through this week, so feel free to capitalize on that. And also when we look at Sunday from the weekly forecast, that's the best day to really sink your teeth into them. Let's take a look at the cards now and see if additional information wants to come through. So we have the World card, which is great. The World card is a chance for you to travel, to publish, to distribute, to understand things, like we said, from a larger perspective. So maybe part of this for you is needing to get outside of your current situation. Maybe it's a work situation, maybe it's even your living situation. So travel could be very much part of your journey, or something that's beneficial to helping you expand your knowledge. The card is basically encouraging you to broaden your points of view and reference. So don't be afraid to do whatever is necessary really to expand and explore. Let's tune into Aquarius now. Aquarius, as I am receiving information for your sign, what I'm really seeing is a sense of calm. Almost as if there is a river or a lake, a body of water where the surface is hardly moving. A deep sense of emotional serenity, if you will, and that is your channeled information. To take care of yourself, focus on self-care, and to find a way to emotionally and also mentally find that stillness that I'm seeing in that vision, where nothing can really disturb you. You have a sense of everything that's going on. And I think that this has been a busy few months for you. There's been a lot going on, perhaps at work, with family, with loved ones, and your attention has been diverted in those directions. So I want you to pull the attention inward and to find the stillness inside. And that's only going to come through some of what we talked about earlier, making time for release, for meditation. And for you, if I were to look at days of the week that would really allow for that, I would say looking at the energy of Thursday and Friday, really positive for you. And also the most introspective day of the week for everyone that I'm sensing is Sunday. And so those 3 days will really allow for the most positive traction in really just letting go, because serenity is another way of saying release, because it is just a state of being, and receiving as well. So it really ties in nicely to our channeled information at the beginning of the reading. Let's see what the cards have to say in addition to this, and see if there's some additional advice that can help you out this week. This card volunteered. We have Six of Swords. Six of Swords is reversed. For some of you, there's been either some delays or frustration surrounding travel. For the rest of you, this is actually speaking to the advantages of travel and that you might be overdue for making either making a plan for your next trip or for finding a way to get a reprieve from your current situation. So if you've just felt like you've been at home too much and you want to get out, the Six of Swords doesn't necessarily mean you have to get on a plane. It can be about walking, taking your car, or any form of transportation, but just getting outside and going to the next city or to the next block, experiencing a change in energy as you do so. That's really the beneficial part of any sort of travel. It's also the interaction with different people, and it basically will just pull all of your energy up a couple of notches and allow for you possibly to meet some new people as well. So all in all, this is a nice way to, if you have been stressed out, to kind of get back to nature, or to just change your surroundings so that you can also change your point of view. And I know it's a simple approach, but it really does work. When I used to have a stressful corporate job, a lot of times I would make a point of just walking outside during my lunch break. Even if I only had 20 minutes, I would try to walk across the street and get away from the frustrations and the tensions of the moment. And when I came back, I was ready for most of what was waiting for me, but it definitely helped. And I think it's also important for, like I said, for you to plan your next trip or your next adventure. And that's really going to give you something to look forward to as well. Let's focus now on the last sign here, Pisces. For you, this is going to be much more of a productivity-infused week. For you, I have manage and prioritize. And it's not just about your schedule or what you need to get done. More importantly, it's about your decisions of energy. If I were to associate this with a tarot card, it would be like Six of Pentacles. Having the strength and conviction to say no when you need to, and giving only to those who are really going to benefit from your time and energy. Let's look and see what the cards have to say about this as well. All right, we have Death card in reverse, which is speaking to stagnation in your life and a need to shift through that stagnation. It's also about change that's on the horizon for some of you, and there could be some fear or a little bit of nervousness associated with that. For me, I actually look forward to really big cards like Death or the Tower, because they show an end to anything that has been uncomfortable. It also shows, although sometimes a difficult period at first, usually a sense of exploration, excitement, and the unknown, which for some can cause fear, but around the corner I see a shift and a change happening. Now, in regards to work situations, Death in reverse can be about hitting a brick wall, about feeling like there's no room for promotion or that you're no longer being challenged. Same thing at school, can also mean the same in a relationship. The thing with Death reverse is it does require action on your part. So when we're looking at managing and prioritizing your energy, part of the way you can shift things this week is to let go of anything that's not essential and put everything into changing this part of your life where you feel like things might be stuck a little bit. If you're feeling pretty satisfied across the board, this is about maybe needing to get outside and move some more. We talked to Aquarius about that a little bit. It's also about going to the doctor, making sure that everything's checking out in your body. There might be an area where something is stuck, there might be an infection. But for me, the Death card is about needing to move or push through something. So make sure that you're doing enough physical activity, that you're keeping your mind busy, and get a checkup at the doctor if it hasn't been something that you've done for a while. Otherwise, you'll probably already know when I'm telling you this what you need to shift in your life, and I'm giving you a gentle nudge to do so this week. So that wraps up this weekly forecast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you a sense of preparedness and hope for the week ahead. My purpose every week is really to empower you, and that's hopefully what you got from this. If you'd ever like a one-on-one reading, you can check out my website. I'll make sure to put a link in the description area below, and you can check out rates and availability there. If you'd like to stay in touch, there's a lot of ways to do so. You can start first by subscribing to this channel, but I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so I would love for you to join me there if you'd like to do so. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, I have a lot of ways to do that as well. You can connect with me on my website, and I have a donation area there, and there's several methods. If any of those work for you, that's great. And I'm also now on Patreon as well, where you can do a monthly donation if that's something that interests you. Finally, I just want to say thank you. Every month you guys are working really hard to become stronger, to become more aware, and to develop psychically and intuitively. And to have even a small part of that, or to play a small part in that, it means a lot to me. So I really hope that you keep up the great work that you're doing on yourselves, and I want to express gratitude. From my heart to yours, I wish you prosperity, health, happiness, and I'll see you very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.